everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to learn how to make a Baby Groot and a Baby Mandrake out of polymer clay. As usual, the tools I'm using are very simple. It's just an X-Acto knife. I have a needle tool and I have a ballpoint tool. Right now I'm just using my almost brick colored polymer clay for both the pots, but I'm just gonna make one right now and I'm gonna show you how. It's really easy. I try to make this tutorial very simple and basic. Once you're done with it, you can just add details, but right now I'm just showing you the basics. After I finished my pot and I was pretty much satisfied with the result, I'm starting to make the trim. And the easiest way to do that is to roll out your polymer clay and basically just use your X-Acto knife, or if you have a roller, you just flatten it with it and then we attach it. It's the easiest way to make a pot. As you could see, after I rolled it, my trim was not perfect, so I just turned it around and there I fixed it. Now I'm just attaching it to the pot and trying to make it seamless, but you know what? That's the back, so it doesn't really matter unless you make it so you can sell it. In that case, I would make it really perfect, but if it's just for yourself, there's nothing wrong with a little imperfection. So here I'm just using a tan yellowish color of polymer clay, which I'm portioning in Groot's body, his head, and his two little dancing hands. And as you can see, I'm starting with his head, which is honestly pretty easy to make if you just follow my instructions. Again, I told you I'm making it really simple, so anyone should be able to do this. Once I made the basic shape I wanted for the head, I'm just gonna start scoring it with my X-Acto knife. This really doesn't need to be perfect, and I think the sloppier you are, the better it's gonna look in the end. So I think this is my basic shape for his head, and now I'm just dragging down those scores to mimic Groot's textured, like tree textured skin. I don't know if that's skin. I do not know what it is. His bark. I'm trying to mimic Groot's bark. So I found out the easiest way to do his body is while you are conditioning your clay, you just swirl it around your fingers, and in 2 or 3 moves, the body is done. And then I'm just scoring it a little bit with my needle tool and just attach it. For the hands, I'm just using 2 equal parts of polymer clay that I just swirled in my fingers and then just attach it, and that is it. You don't need to do anything else. It just looks like his little dancey hands. I also decided that he's gonna be a little frail when I put him in the oven to cook. So I decided to just enforce him a little bit with a piece of a toothpick. And this works if you're gonna make him into a charm or if you're gonna make it into a keychain. It's just far better to do this before we cook it in the oven. Now we're just starting to work on his eyes, which basically is just the eye sockets, and that is all you're gonna need to do right now, because we're just gonna attach some black polymer clay, like 2 little balls. Well, this is the pot, and what I'm doing right now is just making the toothpick little hole in first so that we can attach him. Remember how Groot has tiny little leaves randomly on him? That's what I'm doing right now, but I'm also adding it just a little bit of a moss kind of texture. I don't even know how to name it. On his little pot. I just found out it looks better if you do this. I don't know why, I just like it better. You just choose whatever you want. You can choose not to put it on, but I really love it, how it looks. As you can see, I just made a random number of leaves, and I'm just placing them on his head. And I'm very sorry about filming this part. I only realized it after I rewatched my footage. I am so sorry again. Right now I'm just putting some finishing touches on him and redo those little scratches on his head from where I touched it with my fingers. So remember to do that before we go to the next step, which is basically putting a little bit of pigment on him to just give him a little of the bark texture. And I'm just gonna use a very cheap eyeshadow palette with an e.l.f. eyeshadow brush, and I'm just brushing it on top of him. As you can see, it already looks way better just from that, like one brush, and it looks better. So I really encourage you to do this before you bake it, because it's easier. It's plain simple easier. now we're just making the little eyes, and it's just black polymer clay that we're turning into tiny little balls, and we just place them in the eye sockets that we made earlier. I'm kind of trying to make it not look wonky. It kind of does, but you just play around with it. So now it's time to start with our baby mandrake, and once again we're gonna build her a little pot the exact same way from the same red brick colored of polymer clay. We're just turning it into, this time, a little chubbier plant pot. You're gonna see it afterwards compared to Baby Groot. So now that we finished making our plant pot, I'm just gonna use the exact same color of polymer clay that I used for Baby Groot. And you're gonna save the majority of it to make the mandrake. And the way I make it is a little chubby, fluffy mandrake baby. So after I'm satisfied with the pear shape that I gave my mandrake, I'm just gonna use the rest of the polymer clay that I had to add her little roots, might I say, that are sitting on top of her head. You can add as many as you want. I never know when I start. I add or remove as I'm building it. Right here you see how I'm just attaching them, and then use the tip of my finger to just soften the clay and basically glue them and make it seem like it's just one piece of clay and not added. As I was saying before, I never know how it's gonna end up looking, so I decided to add 2 little roots on the sides of the main ones because I just think it's gonna look cuter in the end. So you see, once I attached it, I just try to swirl it a little bit the end of it to make it look like the mandrakes in Harry Potter. I mean, I know they don't look exactly like those, but they're the baby ones. They're cuter. Now it's time to score her skin, and I'm just using my needle tool, but you can use even a toothpick for this, it doesn't matter, and they're all random. You can put more or less, it doesn't matter. Right here I'm starting to make her little leaves. I'm going to attach to the main roots and try to make it seem like they come out of them. Now that I finished my mandrake, I just put a little tiny leaf on her pot. I'm also putting in her eye sockets. And what you'll see right now is that I'm not gonna put in a toothpick because she's strong enough to not use one. But yet again, if you use it as a keychain, I advise you do put in a little bit of enforcement. Once again, I'm using the eyeshadow palette to dirty her up a little bit. And as you can see, it already looks way better. Just look how cute she is. She's just a little dirty coming out of her soil, but you know. So this is a baby mandrake made by me, and again, I told you I try to simplify everything for you guys, so you can try it at home as well. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I'm really curious what you're gonna think about this one. I loved making them.